The AI IPO race is officially on, and it's approaching 0 hour. OpenAI reportedly targeting a Wall Street debut for the fourth quarter of this year. The Wall Street Journal says the valuation of the AI startup phenom could hit $830 billion. The timing of OpenAI's IPO plans may have been fast-tracked because its rival Anthropic is also planning an end-of-year IPO. The Amazon and Google-backed AI company, founded by former OpenAI leaders, projects it will break even by 2028. That would be 2 years ahead of OpenAI. And then there's Elon Musk, who could throw a stumbling block at both their feet. Musk is weighing a potential merger of SpaceX with one of his other companies, xAI, or even Tesla, ahead of a SpaceX IPO. Joe Lonsdale's 8 VC fund made an early investment in xAI and was also part of the consortium of investors that made an unsuccessful $100 billion bid to take over OpenAI last year. And he's invested in Archer Aviation's rival Joby. Oh my gosh, you are a busy guy. You're here in a Fox Business exclusive. Thanks for joining us. Well, let's tackle this possible eventual merger between SpaceX and xAI, maybe Tesla. You run in the same circles as Elon. Would that be a smart idea?
And of course, it's above my pay grade to say what's actually going to happen, Liz, but there are a lot of synergies between these companies. Elon's serious about going to the moon with SpaceX and launching data centers into orbit. And so they're definitely going to be collaborating, I can tell you that. Listen, I'm really bullish on xAI. It's growing really fast this year. I was out in Palo Alto briefly last week, seeing a friend actually at the headquarters, and Elon was in the back doing engineering reviews. He's working really hard on it. He's there a lot. He's building this company, and the results are looking really good. So I'm very bullish on it. I think both Anthropic and xAI have really outperformed the last few months. Both of those are very impressive companies, and I wouldn't be surprised if they both had strong IPOs this year.
OpenAI, not profitable yet. A lot of deals being struck with big names. Just yesterday, Amazon, a $50 billion investment into OpenAI. Some of these look a little bit like the overused term now is the circular trade, where it's sort of I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine. NVIDIA saying we'll make this investment, just turn around and take that money that we gave you and buy our chips. Anything about what's happening at OpenAI giving you pause, giving you concern that who knows, maybe there might be some moment where they need to get more capital at some point?
I mean, they definitely need a lot of capital. That's the nature of this beast and this competition. I mean, you look at the plans for these companies, and I don't want to violate any confidentiality, but in general, for all of these companies, and I've seen things around all of them, like they all need to invest a lot of money into research, into training. They don't plan to make money in the near term. They plan to spend tens of billions of more to stay ahead of their rivals, right, and to build what's possible. So these things need a lot of cash. And listen, you talk to the leaders, a lot of them, especially the ones who are not Elon, have been surprised by how deep the private markets actually are. There's a lot of money available in the private markets. That said, the public markets are a lot deeper, so it makes sense they're going to have to access them. And I think OpenAI is in a tough competitive position. I think our best companies are doing a lot with Anthropic, a lot with X. OpenAI has a lot of consumer base, but I'm not as bullish on them as I am the other two.
At a time when some tech companies are spinning off certain portions of their business, there is this discussion that Elon, who obviously one of the most, if not the most brilliant tech inventors of our time, could be considering merging all of his companies, whether it's xAI with SpaceX or Tesla going in. He's got Neuralink. He's got the Boring Company. You are an early investor in many of these. And that, if it happened, would create the biggest tech juggernaut in the history of the world. I mean, on planet Earth. Is that ever something that you could envision as being a good business move?
I don't ever second guess Elon. There was obviously really good synergies between X and xAI. There could be other synergies there, Liz. But, in general, when I'm building companies, it's really helpful to have a core team that has a really serious focus and that has upside and metrics against that focus. And so I'd be surprised if they all got put together at once. I think Boring Company, for example, is doing amazing work. You can go to Vegas right now and go underground from the airport to some of the very best hotels. They have millions and millions of people on it. We're digging in other states, trying to get going here in Texas. I think we will soon, hopefully. But I think that makes sense for that management team, for example, to be separate and work on that for a while. It would be my bias. And so I can't speak for what Elon would do. Mm-hmm. But in general, I think some of them being separate and building giant companies separately is oftentimes the best way to go.
You have your irons in many fires. Specifically, healthcare is a really big passion. There's been so much news lately on where President Trump wants to see healthcare, health insurers, technology. He's incredibly supportive of big advancements in AI. Haven't seen too much on that spilling over into healthcare, but what are you investing in? What's the most exciting prospect you see?
Well, I think AI in healthcare is absolutely critical. I'm a big fan of the Secretary Kennedy and Dr. Oz and a bunch of the people around him, and I think they're aligned. The big challenge for our civilization right now, you're seeing the crazy wealth taxes in California. You're seeing a lot of populism on both sides. And if we can make healthcare costs go down, Liz, like we have 50 to 100 trillion dollars of debt in healthcare, depending how you measure these promises, maybe even higher. Like we have to get these costs down. And it's actually the case that we can get the cost down a lot. We can make each doctor, each nurse way more productive. We can get rid of a lot of the back office costs, but right now it's illegal. Right now, the state scope of practice laws, right now the way the competition works is kind of set up to be crony capitalism, and it really makes innovating illegal. We have to create AI sandboxes. We have to let us innovate in healthcare to save our civilization and make this stuff functional. So that's something I'm working hard on.
Joe, good to see you. Thank you very much for coming on. And you backed, actually, because we just had the Archer CEO on, and you were commenting that you had backed the rival Joby. Joby's stock has outperformed year over year from Archer, but Archer's got the Olympic deal. They've got a deal with the Department of Defense.
If we can have flying cars, I'm going to be a fan of that in general. I think Joby has the best technology, but I like the Archer CEO too, Liz. They're good people. We got to get these things rolled out, and the Trump administration's going fast on it, which I love.
Yeah, very, very, very supportive of new technology. Joe, we'll see you next time. Thanks.